This is Football Night in America, served by Applebee's.
Welcome inside Studio 3. Maria Taylor alongside Matthew Berry, Mike Florio, Devin McCourty, and Jason Garrett. Our new digs here, and we have a brand new football season to celebrate, but some of the same storylines. So let's start with the Dallas Cowboys. And the one new thing for sure is that hours right before Jason Garrett, Dak Prescott wrapped up that contract extension, $240 million. But you, in your mind, knew that this was going to happen. How did you feel when it went down in his performance on the day?
You know, we drafted Dak Prescott in 2016 in the fourth round, and he went 13-3 as a rookie. And it was an amazing year, but more than that, just how he handled himself as a leader and how he improved and how he connected with his teammates. I literally said to Jerry Jones in a conversation, I said, he's going to be your quarterback for the next 20 years. I really believe that. Tom Brady was playing into his 40s at the time, and I'm like, this guy, he's that type of a player. And I'm so glad they got this thing ironed out. He's so deserving of it. He's the leader of that franchise. He handles everything about playing quarterback with the Dallas Cowboys the right way, most especially what he does on the field. We saw that today.
Yeah, and before we get into the game, I agree with you. There's so much talk in this league about a quarterback. You see all these teams, it's like, do we need to draft a quarterback again? They have a guy, and everyone wants to bring up wherever he falls short at and ignore all of the great things he does for this Cowboys team. So I commend him. And then I love that he gets the contract and he comes in and leads this team, goes down there, dominates in Cleveland, where everyone's been talking. Dallas didn't do enough in the offseason. Dallas didn't do this. I was one of those people. I don't know about Dallas right now. They go out and they play a team that everyone probably has ranked as a defense in their top three. They go out there and they show them, hey, we're still the Cowboys.
And I want to flip it around. You mentioned Tom Brady, but did you know he made his broadcasting debut today? That kind of might have gone under the radar. I mean, it was easy to miss. But he was on yesterday, halftime of the Michigan-Texas game, and he was asked about the quarterbacks. And when it came to Deshaun Watson, you could see what he wanted to say and what he did say. And here's what he wanted to say. Deshaun, it's time. They made a gigantic investment in this guy. $46 million a year, fully guaranteed for 5 years, 3 first-round draft picks, 3 other picks. This is it. The time is now, and it's not good enough. And I don't know who to blame, but when you put that kind of pressure on a guy with that kind of money and those kind of draft picks, you kind of set him up to fail. There's no way to go but down, and it's been down so far, and it needs to turn around, or they're going to have a tough decision to make. $92 million they owe him next year and the year after. They may just have to eat it and say, see you later.
Yeah. I mean, but I don't think it's fair to put it on the contract. He's been bad. We have not seen Houston, Texas,
contract doesn't help. Contract doesn't help.
Oh, contract's awful. I mean, you could argue it's the worst contract in sports history. I mean, but you know, the Mets and Bobby Bonilla might have a might
Bonilla's still getting paid.
Exactly. And no, exactly. But I mean, honestly, not only is Watson not been good since Houston, we haven't seen that Deshaun Watson for many, many years. But I would argue that Watson hasn't even been the best quarterback on the Browns. Like, Jacoby Brissett played better than Watson did his first year in Cleveland. Joe Flacco played better than him last year. Yes, great game by Dak, great game by the Cowboys defense. But how do you give that much credit to the defense, or how much blame do you put on the Browns offense? Because they looked completely outclassed in this game in their home opener.
And I will say the interesting thing is when you look at Cleveland, it's now, is it all Deshaun Watson, or is there just not a great marriage between Watson and Stefanski's offense? You talk about Jacoby coming in and playing better, Flacco playing. Is this offense tailored to what Deshaun Watson, like, I don't know. There was a 3rd and 11, and with a veteran quarterback, you're paying all that money, they took the ball and they threw a pass straight down the line to a receiver, and it's like, do we let them try to get it down the field, or do they not trust them? That's the thing that I kind of look at.
When Cleveland has played best on offense the last few years, they've run the football. They've been good on the offensive line. Chubb's been their runner, and everything else has come off of that. How they throw the ball, how the quarterback plays, how the defense plays. Absent that, it's going to be hard for Deshaun Watson to play well.
Well, it's hard for you to say that. Is it Stefanski? Is it the game plan when we've seen other quarterbacks have success in the system that is tailored around them? So that's one thing that you can point out when you're talking about
Joe Flacco was on his couch, 2 months into the season, came into that offense, led him to the playoffs, won comeback player of the year. I mean, it's not like it's Deshaun Watson and then some other big name guys. It was a guy that didn't have a job at the beginning of the year. I know I'm with you. It's not just any one person, but I'm with you, Coach. It's like Njoku, Amari Cooper, they trade for Jerry Jeudy. It's not like it's threadbare. Like, it's
and
a good team.
great defense. A great defense that it's harder to play defense if your offense isn't doing anything.
Okay, listen, I actually started this on a good note. I was talking about Dak, and then here comes Florio. Okay, and we got two comments. He's like, I understand whatever was going on, but let me drag this on down to Deshaun Watson.
Right.
Coach, you said something during the show I just want to clarify. You said some clowns were talking about Dak. True or false? One of them was Mike Florio.
I got my nose.
Have you been talking
that
way?
My nose? I don't know. I say so much, I don't know what I say.
And again, I'm going to double down on Dak. There's so much noise around the organization. The Cowboys have been America's team long before Jerry Jones showed up. Okay, it's Roger Staubach and Tom Landry and Tex Stram. They made them America's team way back in the 70s. There's a lot of attention on that franchise. Playing quarterback for the Cowboys is like playing shortstop for the Yankees. It's the same kind of thing. Troy Aikman handled it beautifully. Dak Prescott handles it the same way. So there's a lot of noise, there's a lot of racket, and he just processes it all and plays at a high level. You could argue that he was the best player in the NFL last year. He could have won the MVP very easily over Lamar Jackson. So he's that kind of player. Have they been short, at that next level, going to the championship game? Absolutely. Dak is a part of that, but the whole team and organization is a part of that too. I just love how he handles himself. He's a great leader for the team and for the league, and he's going to play quarterback for the Cowboys for a long time.
And good for them getting the deal done, but they waited too long.
Yeah,
they waited too long with CeeDee Lamb. They waited too long with Dak. They're going to wait too long with Micah Parsons. That's the thing they need to get beyond.
Sure.
All right,
and by the way, it'll help if they go far in the postseason. That's the biggest issue.
Yeah.
No one's having an issue with Dak in the regular season. The issue has been at the big moments when Dallas, a team that has legitimate Super Bowl aspirations, has fallen short year after year. And unfortunately, because he's the quarterback, a lot of that lays at his feet.
Yep.
Yeah, but sometimes it feels like all we talk about is the postseason with Dak,
I know. Well, that's what I'm saying. He got paid like. Now he has to show up in the postseason. Sure. But I'm with you.
He's one of the clowns we're talking about.
Exactly. We found him.
I'll give you my nose. You can have my nose.
All right, guys.
Tell me what I just said was wrong.
No, you're right.
I'm just kidding.
You're right. We'll talk about the Patriots and the Bengals now, and we'll start with the good because the Patriots, Jerod Mayo, your buddy, he gets to go on the road and walk away with the win. We were wondering which quarterback was going to play, like a lot of questions surrounding them, but it seemed like they showed up with an identity, and it surrounded special teams, defense, and being methodical on offense.
Yeah, you got to give Jacoby Brissett credit today. He made some plays that looked like they might have been sacks, negative plays, and then they handed the ball off to Ramondre Stevenson. Over 100 yards rushing, and that's what they said. I was down there all preseason, sitting in production meetings. They said, hey, you might not see much of it in the preseason. It's going to be tough to see it in training camp practice, but this offense will be built around running the football. So credit to the offensive line. A lot of talk about how they played, especially in Washington in that last preseason game. I was on them heavy. This offensive line isn't good. They're not doing it. David Andrews didn't play in that last preseason game. He was back in that lineup for week one, and it showed. They came out and played a Cincinnati team at home. They're on the road. New England on the road. The team's supposed to win 4 games this year, they were saying, and gets a big win.
And they were in control of that game right from the start. And what I loved about it is your old teammate, Mayo, the new head coach there now, he learned a lot from the guy that he played for and the guy that he coached with. Because you guys, when you were playing there, what you did better than anybody else is you found a way to win games every week. And that's what they did. We're going to run the ball, play great defense, limit Cincinnati's opportunities, play the way we want to play to our strengths, limit our weaknesses. They went there with that plan, and they executed. Disappointing for Cincinnati. They've started poorly the last few years. They got to get it in gear earlier in the season to quit putting so much pressure on themselves.
I'm going to throw you a curveball and stay positive.
Oh.
I like that.
That's hard for you to do.
He lined it up for you, too.
But here's what impressed me about the Patriots, and here's where it will benefit the Patriots. Not many teams have that smash mouth, power running. So defenses aren't going to be ready for that. They're ready to face the great quarterbacks, the high-flying AFC circus acts that we see. Here come the Patriots now, and they're going to kick your ass, and you better be ready for it. And it hurts by the fourth quarter when you're getting pounded and pounded and pounded. And when defenses are so used to other style of offense, that gives them a built-in advantage. They're doing something different from everyone else.
I'll say this in response to that. You can't be a great football team in this league if you're not physical. You can be a 4-wide team. You can be all spread out. You can play but if you're not a physical football team, you will not withstand the rigors of a 17-game schedule in the playoffs. So whatever the exterior looks like, physicality has to be a part of it. Kansas City showed that last year. They became a physical football team and showed us that all through the playoffs and winning the Super Bowl. Jim Harbaugh coming to town. They're going to be a physical team. People who understand that and live that and draft your team to be that, they're the ones that have a chance. Jerod Mayo knows that.
What do they say? Tough teams stop the run and run the football. That's what it's about in January.
It's a great win for the Patriots, and congratulations to Coach Mayo and all the Patriots. But you have to sit here and kind of scratch your head at Cincinnati. Now, listen, no T. Higgins, right? Jamar Chase limited contract dispute and everything like that. But still, to your point about them starting slow, 1-5 in season openers under Zach Taylor, the Bengals. It just feels like they're never ready. And listen, I'm not a defensive coordinator, but if I'm looking at the Patriots, I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to stack the line. They got Ramondre Stevenson, who's one of their best players. I'm going to stack the line. If Jacoby Brissett beats us, then he beats us. But you know what? Like they've got some rookie wide receivers. They don't have a lot of experience in the passing game. We haven't seen much from Jacoby. It boggles my mind that they just basically let the Patriots run all over them. And by the way, the turnovers don't help. 2 turnovers. They lost 2 fumbles all of last year. They had 2 fumbles today.
That was the difference in the game, was the turnovers. Because
correct.
New England didn't get a lot going offensively, but the Bengals fumbled down around the 5-yard line, get the ball punched out, and then you fumble and muff a punt. But my whole thing with Cincinnati is everyone loves to talk about this team, right? Joe Burrow, one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. They beat Patrick Mahomes 2021 season in the playoffs. They went to the Super Bowl. That stuff is over. They have not done that. I'm so tired of hearing that about everyone saying, this is a team, this is a team. We have to see it. You have to play to it. And this is a good football team. There's no doubt about it. Maybe when they get all the weapons back. But like you said, a good football team. You're at home playing against a team that even without T. Higgins, Joe Mixon is gone, Tyler Boyd's gone. Even without all of that, you're supposed to go win this game.
Absolutely.
And you don't. And that, to me, causes concern of, is this team really the biggest threat to the Chiefs that everyone wants to talk about?
And they get the Chiefs.
And they get the Chiefs.
So we'll find out.
By the way, by far the most picked team in all survivor pools was the Bengals to win. A bunch of people out after week 1.
Meanwhile, Chris Sims.
Got them going all the way.
Yeah, exactly. But they were Dragon Slayers for a moment, and so you're thinking like this could be the team. They never were afraid of the Chiefs, and they were the first team to kind of show that. So that's what we got it from.
But we all said this early in the day. Let's not overreact to week 1.
Yeah, but that's what we do.
A lot of football to be played.
That's what we do.
That's what we do, unfortunately.
One question, though, we might get clarification as the week goes on, but the deal with Jamar Chase and just getting a deal done or figuring out, like, obviously that hangs over your head.
He was really torn, Maria, on whether to play. And it went right to the last minute. And the Bengals have given him an offer that on the surface looks good. But when you start picking around the details, it looks really bad. That's the problem. He could say, hey, you're making as much as Justin Jefferson. Yeah, but I don't have as much guaranteed at signing. It takes me longer to get this. I might not get that. And that's what they have to work through.
I know when I went down there and talked to him last year, I asked him a question about, hey, the future of your contract. He said he wants to be a good teammate and he wants to be there for his guys. So I'm sure today, going back and forth, thinking about it, but wanting to show up and play for your guys. And credit to him. He went out there and played too.
I'll just say this. Listen, you guys can talk about this better than I can because you guys have been in locker rooms. But I just have to think that when you're sitting there in that locker room and you're like, man, this guy's balling out and he's not getting paid and T. Higgins didn't get the deal he wanted. And so if you're a guy in that locker room and you're looking around saying, wait, if Jamar Chase ain't getting paid, if T. Higgins ain't getting paid, what am I going to do? I feel like that permeates through a locker room. And I don't know that caused them to lose today, but anytime you start whispering and you're not cohesive, I just feel like it ain't great, right? And now they're 0-1.
All right, well, we'll see what they have in week 2. But let's talk about the Tennessee and Chicago game because we were all waiting to see Caleb Williams and the debut. It left a little bit to be desired on the Williams front, but also rookie, first game, like he's figuring it out. Like, you can literally see him processing as the game went on, Jason.
You know, Marie, we've talked about this before. Great debate in New England. Should you play Drake May, the 3rd player taken in the draft? What's the best way to approach this? Patrick Mahomes, the best player that ever walked. He didn't play his rookie year. Aaron Rodgers didn't play till year 4. There's all these stories of great players waiting and watching. And now we have this expectation. C.J. Stroud, we had Dak, guys who played great as rookies. All of a sudden, that becomes the standard. And I'm hearing all offseason, well, they got Keenan Allen. They got D.J. Moore. They got all these weapons. He's a rookie quarterback coming into the NFL. The team has won 10 games in the last 2 years. The expectations have to be lower, okay? My biggest disappointment in him was that I saw him kind of looking around. today. Instead of going back, boom, 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 being decisive, it looked like he was looking at the rush, not sure where to go with the football. He looked a little bit like a rookie. And then he wanted to go just make plays with my feet, and these guys in the NFL.
Too hard to do that in the NFL.
They chase him down. So I think he's going to learn from this experience. I think for Chicago, it's important to understand where he is, like all rookie quarterbacks, and help him. Play to that defense, play to that special teams, run the football, and slowly integrate him week after week and let him improve as the season goes on.
Yeah, and I think about it. You brought up Patrick Mahomes. Going into Baltimore, they asked him about the defense. He said, I know I'll be ready. There's no defense I haven't seen yet. That's a guy who's been in the league. Every defense Caleb Williams saw today is the first time he saw this from an NFL defense. So you have to expect that. There's a learning curve to this. He will get better, but I think what you just said, hopefully they walk away from this game and they say, hey, as bad as we played, special teams and defense won us a game. Let's going forward. Let's play to that. That's our strengths. Let's go out there and let that be what speaks for this Chicago Bears team.
And look, that's the biggest difference between preseason and regular season. Preseason, there's no game planning. You're not in the game for long. You're not trying to figure out what's happening. They're not figuring out what you're doing. And for all we know, the Titans are the best defense they're going to see all year long. Probably not. So they're going to have to do what you're saying, Coach. Work him in slowly, expect him to do less, let the defense win games. Better to play poorly and win than play well and lose. I mean, the bottom line is they still won his debut.
No doubt. No doubt.
Look, and by the way, give the Titans defense credit. Like it was a good defense last year. They improved their secondary this offseason as well. So I mean, they came in and played very well, and honestly probably should have won the game here. But I think if you're Caleb Williams, you have to feel like, to your point, Mike, like, hey, you know what? I've got a good run game. I got good weapons offensively, and I got a good defense. I don't have to put it all on my shoulders. I don't have to be the superhero rookie that a lot of people drafted #1 overall have to be. He's got a lot around him, and just to your point, Coach, let the game come to him.
Yes.
Every time a #1 overall pick comes in, it just reminds me of like how excellent C.J. Stroud is and what he was able to do last season, if you think about it, because you can see like some people look like deer in headlights. He never did that. And then week 2, obviously Caleb Williams for Sunday Night Football is going to take on the Texans.
It is hard to play quarterback in the NFL, Maria.
Yeah. So I've learned. Not a job I want. I'm safe up here. Okay, guys, it's time for our speed round, and you guys are going to fill in the blank this time. Okay, so we're going to start with you, Matthew. The winning team that impressed me the most today was?
I'm going to say the Saints. I mean, like, honestly, listen, anyway, I feel like the Saints. Everyone sleeps on the Saints, and they just completely dominated from start to finish.
Miami Dolphins, we rarely see them fight through adversity. It always goes easy for them at home. They were down. They fought their way out of it. They got the win. They need to learn how to do that if they ever want to win in the playoffs.
What are y'all talking about? The New England Patriots went to Cincinnati and beat them. It's the most impressive thing we saw today. On the road, a win from a team that's supposed to be one of the worst rosters in the NFL.
Team that starts 1-5 this season.
I don't disagree. I can't use the same answer. The Dallas Cowboys went to Cleveland and dominated in all 3 phases.
I think you were going to say that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do someone different. There we go. No one gives love to the Saints.
Okay, blank is the new head coach who wants a week 1 mulligan.
I'll say Brian Callahan, 3 turnovers in the 4th quarter. Like, the Tennessee Titans came out and looked really good for 3 quarters, and then unfortunately it all just sort of fell apart. So I think, Coach Callahan probably wants to clean some of that up. He'd like a week 1 mulligan for sure.
I need to explain my reasoning first, because if I were taking a mulligan while playing golf, the second result would be no better than the first, so it doesn't matter. So I'll say Dave Canales, because it was a disaster, and you give him a mulligan, it's going to be a disaster again. It goes this way on the first one, it goes that way on the other one, so forget about it.
Usually I avoid saying the same thing, but I agree. Strictly, they gave up 30. We were sitting there, we were like, it's hard for a team to give up 30 points in the first half. They give up 30 points. So I think, yes, they probably wouldn't win, but you don't want to play that poorly in your first game.
Agree. And I'm wondering, as David Tepper was watching this thing, that guy that you played for, 8 Super Bowls, he had an opportunity to hire him. And, it's going to be hard for them to rebuild it in Carolina. It certainly wasn't the way they want to start it.
Would Bill even want to be there?
He can call Bill, but Bill right now is probably on some set doing some media.
Bill is booked and busy.
Maybe he's on InstaFace recording
I don't know, right? And I'm enjoying it. I love all the smiles I'm seeing from Bill right now. Come join us anytime you want. The best individual performance in week 1 was by blank.
I'm going to say J.K. Dobbins. What a great story, right? Here's a guy came massive injury, goes to the Chargers on a one-year kind of prove-it deal, and just dominates, does exactly what Coach Harbaugh wants, runs with power, over 100 yards, a touchdown, and a big win against the Raiders. Go J.K. Dobbins. Okay. What a great story.
I got to give Sam Darnold some love. Back at MetLife Stadium, the place where things just went horribly for him as quarterback of the Jets. I have a theory that the Jets ruin every quarterback they get their hands on, and this is Darnold's chance with a better team, a better organization, better receivers, better everything to win some football games, and he looked really good today.
How about Saquon Barkley? Goes out to Brazil, 3 touchdowns, has, just a great performance out there in Brazil. We got to give Saquon some love.
I love Saquon Barkley. You know, Josh Allen is the Dak Prescott of the AFC. And I hear people, oh, he's overrated. Watch the game. You do not have to be an expert in football to understand that that guy is ridiculous. He was again today. Threw 2, ran for 2. He's the best player on the field week in and week out.
All right. Blank made me shake my head today.
Kirk Cousins. Signed a $100 million deal. Your defense holds a team to 5 field goals and you can't get a win at home? Like, Kirk Cousins was bad today. I'm sorry. Like, that's a game that should have been won. You're at home. Like, we're talking about Deshaun Watson's contract. Let's talk about Kirk Cousins' contract.
Put Michael Penix Jr. in?
I'm just saying I'm just saying for $100 million, that was a bad home loss,
real
dude.
sad
That was a
the whole
bad
time.
home. That made me shake my head. Like, Kirk Cousins, you got to be better.
I'm going to go with your Commanders and offensive coordinator Cliff Kingsbury. What are you doing calling design runs with your rookie quarterback when the game is over? We talked about Lamar Jackson. You can't get pounded. You can't get hit. You're going to get injured. They got to take care of him. They have a little experience with a rookie quarterback that got injured badly his rookie year. You got to be careful with Daniels. I'm
going to go with the Bengals. The Bengals played at home. They were supposed to be the team that everyone was watching all season. To come out and start that way, I don't like it. I think this is a team that you want to get out in front of Kansas City. You want to play that way. So when it comes playoff time, you get a chance to play at home.
Yeah, you know, I agree with you. I was going to say the Bengals too, because again, we're talking about this team as one of the elite teams, and one of the teams they talked about the Patriots saying, should they tank? That was a question that Elliott Wolf was asked. So for them to go down there and get that done, if you're a Bengal fan, you're certainly shaking your head.
I was shaking my head every time I saw TJ Watt completely bust up any and everything the Falcons had going. I'm an Atlanta Falcons fan. I too was sad. And shout out to the Steelers for coming to Mercedes-Benz Stadium and turning it into right, Steeler Nation. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We will do this every single week, break down what we saw. And week 2, we've got the Texans, we've got the Bears, and we will see you for Sunday Night Football. But first, Football Night in America will start at 7 Eastern. I hope you join us on NBC and Peacock.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.